farmer power. Do farmers have more control, more power, more control over their own destiny and their business than they did just 20 or 30 years ago? Does consolidation change the odds for farmers? Does it make it worse? Because there's also consolidating companies. That's what we're talking about in this episode of The Granary.
You ready for a conversation with some real farmers about real issues? And the best part, you're invited. So pour yourself a drink, grab a snack, most importantly, pull up a chair. Welcome to The Granary. Hey guys.
I'm joined here with my friend Johan Groot. He is a dairyman in Huntington, Indiana, actually Andrews, Indiana. He farms my farmland, and I thought it'd be fun for him to sitting here with Kelly Garrett of XtremeAg. All right, you heard the topic. You're a business guy. You both are fairly large-scale operators. Do you have more control, more power than maybe your old man did or maybe granddad did because you've got 3,200 cows that you're milking, you've got quite a number of operations that, going? Do you have more control and power over your business than maybe you did 20 or 30 years ago?
It's hard to say we've got more power today because the whole industry is consolidating. You do have to have today, I think, to be able, just like we're currently shipping our milk to Walmart. And to be able to ship milk to them, they want you to produce a semi-load of milk a day. So if you don't have that semi-load, you don't have that opportunity to have that conversation with them.
Yeah. So that means the power, it used to be when we milked 60 cows, nobody cared that much about, they said they wanted your milk, but if something got sideways, then you were done. We had no price negotiation power. You have a little bit more power over those things because of producing at scale.
Yeah, but on the output side, you still go, your premium structure is the only thing you can really negotiate. The federal order price is what sets the milk price. And then the only thing you can really say, all right, I got buying powers because you can buy semi-loads of product versus partial loads or boxes of product.
Enough of it that there's enough vendors that say, well, we're going to probably work on Johan's terms because he's going to take literally truckloads of dry distiller grains or whatever as opposed to bags of it.
Mm-hmm. Those savings you do have.
But the decisions. You tell companies how things are going to be. Do they accept that?
Anymore, it's you want the best terms. You do ACH within 7 days and this whole fight. I always tell people, you're not my bank. I got a bank to borrow money from that I utilize. Give me the best price, and I'll figure it out. Exactly.
What do you think? Do you have more power and more control than Gene did?
I would say yes, in some ways. And some of it has to do with the size of the operation because we've grown, but the other has to do with the skill set. The two things bring you more. And I don't know if I like the term power necessarily. I would call it self-sufficiency. And two things dictate that. Your skill set and your financial security. Mm-hmm. And my dad always had a very nice financial security. I feel like things like that because he was conservative. He never lived beyond his means. He was very good at that, living within his means. But the one spot where I think that we are more self-sufficient now, have more power, is our skill set. My dad is one of the greatest people I've ever seen with his cows and very self-sufficient there. We're not good mechanics. Mm-hmm. I should never have a wrench in my hand. Mm-hmm. The guys in the shop will tell you that. Red will tell you he has a full-time job because I'm really good at breaking it and he has to fix it.
Right.
Which is true. But now with the skill set we have, with the team of people that we have, because of the operation growing, we do have a lot more self-sufficiency and we don't outsource a lot of things. And I take great pride in that. There's not only a savings in that, but also a time factor, which is a savings, and we can be more efficient, more self-sufficient. So yes, we do.
You have more control over a lot of outcomes because of all the things you just said.
I do. Yes. I don't like depending on other people. I want to do it myself because I want it done now.
And then you can jump in and make a big day out of something if it needs to be done.
That's right.
And get it done instead of waiting on somebody that works at the 8 to 5 mentality.
It's a technology that you have in your pocket that is, we've recorded another episode where we talked about information, etc. Is that put the control back in your hands because now pricing, you understand. In the old days, you waited on, you had a vendor come out and tell you what things were. Now you can talk one of your dairy buddies in 3 states away and find out what the number should be.
Yep. And I think that's very important. You do have those relationships with other producers to kind of help keep people honest. Most people are honest, but yet they're still in a sales business. That's their business to get the most for their products. And so it's our responsibility to keep them accountable and have the information to do so.
Before we hit record, Johan, my XtremeAg guys were giving me a hard time and asked if I was difficult as a landlord. Do you have more control now because of your scale where you can push people like me around? I mean, we already know you push me around as a landowner, but you have more power to push people around like that?
I don't think you push people around because you can only do that so long. It's all about building relationships and doing what you say. If you say A, do A. Don't do something else.
I would say that we don't know each other well. We just met. We've spoken on the phone before, but you must be one of the most tolerant people that I've ever met because you have a relationship with Damian. So I'm really impressed.
I know how to take guys like this.
Yes, you must be very patient.
How to take guys like this? What's that supposed to mean?
It means exactly what I think.
You don't take every word serious.
Well, sometimes I'm
and there's people that can and people that can't. I deal with some nutritionists and people I can't stand. They like, take the good and leave what you can't tell. Or just leave it to say. You don't need to go drink a beer with them every night. You don't need to. It's not who you bring home at night. It's people you do business with. And yeah. I like getting along with everybody because life is so much easier when you do. Yeah. Instead of having people you have to worry about because you feel like they're going to stab you in the back. And life's too short for that.
What about, by the way, smartass, talking about him tolerating me and all that. I'm easy to work with. I'm actually an ag guy. See, the other side that I hear farmers say, you know what I really wish? Talk about control. I like it that that family is 3 states away and then none of them actually grew up on the farm. It was grandpa's. They just leave me alone. Like, yeah, also they don't know anything about the asset and they're that's a short-term thing. I would rather have, if I talk about control, if I was a big farmer and I had a bunch of rented ground, I would want somebody like me as a landowner that's actually in the business and at least is keeping an eye on the asset and knows what's happening and can have an actual business discussion about it, as opposed to, oh yeah, the granddaughter's up in Schaumburg, Illinois in the suburbs and she has no clue. She didn't know where this farm is. Because I think at some point, those people are not who you want to do business.
That's true with some of the absentee landlords and stuff like that. But the people that you have the relationship with and they just want the check to be there on March 1st, things like that, there's value in that. You're right, dealing with someone like you that has agricultural expertise. There's the other landlords, though, that think they have agricultural expertise. And that is, that's worse than being absentee.
Yeah, right.
Those, and they're not willing to learn. Well, then, and we talk all the time about, well, this is the way my dad did it. Well, now you're talking about people that are 2 generations removed from the farm, and this is the way grandpa did it. Well, that doesn't work anymore. Yeah. There's new technology.
All right. So talk about the power and the control. What do you think is the best thing for you? You're in your mid-30s, and you've been in this game for a while here. Just in your farming career, where is it like, yeah, I've got better control over this now than I did when I started?
I think, like he said, because of size, you teach people to do certain jobs. And I see it on the farm right now. The easier things as one person or a couple people can do the same job day in, day out, the same schedule every week. What I struggle with is when today it rains, so we got to change the whole schedule. But the work inside the barn, it's pretty much on a schedule. And you can tell, hey, this guy's going to do the breeding, so you make sure he's good at breeding. This guy's going to do all the hoof trimming. He's going to be good at hoof trimming. When you're a certain size, you can dedicate people to those tasks versus this person needs to be able to breed, preg check, pull calves, do all those tasks, and it's limited exposure to those tasks. Yeah. So when you bring someone in to teach him, he's got to teach all those things.
Yeah, so the control situation and where size has its advantages, you then can have specialization of task.
Yeah, like now we're hauling our own milk.
This guy just breeds cows.
Now we're hauling milk. I got one guy dedicated to haul milk. If I was only to haul 1 load of milk, guess what? I need a part-time driver, or he needs to be able to haul milk in the morning, drive semi, and in the afternoon be able to wrench on equipment. Well,
you're hauling your own milk now? You had to buy your own tankers? So you're one guy hauls 5 tankers a day? 6?
4 or 5. We haul with super tankers, so we haul 13,000 gallons a load.
That's a lot of milk.
That's a lot of gallons.
That's a lot of gallons.
We have 6,000 and 7,000 gallon tankers.
Speaking of that, so the other thing about farmer control, farmer power of your own business, you now branch out. So diversification into other stuff, it's almost like because you got a farm of scale, you can then branch out, and that's good. Your revenue picture is improved because now you've got other stuff.
Yeah, it makes you less vulnerable to the swings in the market. I've told you this before, that's why I wanted to raise my own young stock. So if milk prices are good or bad, you keep that barn full.
Yeah.
You don't go in that downward spiral when cattle prices are high, but milk price is low, so you can't keep the barn full.
Yeah.
Now you always get that young stock flowing in. You have a buffer built in there. Is it always the greatest return on asset? Maybe not. But it does give you a little bit more stability in the farm.
You have control because now you control your inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's
already money in those assets as well. If you truly put all your, a lot of these dairies that started in this area, say 25 years ago, with an 80 acres and a dairy, the only revenue we had was milk check. So when feed price went up and milk price went down, you were just much more vulnerable.
Very difficult, yes.
Yeah, and so then because their business model was to just buy replacement heifer or buy bred heifers that were ready to calve, and then they just milk. All they did was milk them.
And you had no control over quality. We screw up enough cattle too, but at least we have a little bit of influence on what we raise, how we raise them, and you're always looking at how can we improve this because we see it on the other end.
Go ahead.
Whereas this month you bought heifers from A, and next month you bought from B, because that's who had them available. Or you went to the auction, you don't know nothing.
Right. In other words, you might be bringing
you can't really
disease in. You got some herd health issues then, all that. So you have used the thing that you do is diversification even out of the farm, convenience store, trucking, it's plant food, whatever. That it's almost that continuous. You were able to do that, which gives you more control over your own business. And then the more you do it, the more power you have.
Yes, that self-sufficiency and that diverse income, things like that, all of that plays into it. We started with the farm, then we went into the trucking, then we went from the trucking into the fertility with the plant food. Mm-hmm. That really benefited the farm because it saves the farm money on fertility, and I would say a yield component. Well, we then took the cattle and direct to the consumer with the cattle. Now with the meat store and then the convenience store, the product from the meat store flows into the convenience store, and you're going all the way to the consumer in several different areas. And I learned it from you. He's going
to use the term that I taught him. This is my proudest moment.
I was doing all of those things, and I always believed that you need to have some sort of a symmetry between all these. One business supports the other and creates efficiency. But you taught me the term intentional congruence, and now I look for those opportunities in every business.
One thing feeds the next thing and overlaps on the other thing.
Well, it can also build that cash flow too and take those next enterprises. You're not going to the bank when you want to do something. No, you already got cash flow. There's profitability that you can then take that power and hey, we're going to grab this because an opportunity arised, and you just do it instead of having to think about it and figure out where A, B, and C is going to come from.
How many farmers have a semi or two to haul grain? And then they're always looking for how do we have added income? Well, we just started using those trucks all year, and so now we do that. So the trucking expense for the farm is quite low. We still have to pay for the fuel and the time it takes, but those assets are sitting there. They're being used for something else all the time.
Speaking about farmer power and making sure you can control more of your own business outcomes. So you bought another dairy farm, Belleville, as we call it, 23, 24.
December 23.
Yeah, you cowed it up at the end of mid to late 2024.
Yeah, permitting and some remodel work that needed to be done.
All right, so I know how you operate. You're about got that one running where you want it to run. What's next?
We'll see what the Lord brings in our lap.
Are you done? Are you done cowing? You're going to diversify? You're going to be like Kelly and just get into convenience stores?
I don't know about that. Mm-hmm. I do like cattle, but I do like every aspect of farming. But it's hard to say sitting here, this is where we're going to go to. Right now, we just started as dairies. Yeah, it's cowed up, but it's not where it needs to be. People need to be trained. There's still a lot of work that needs to go around. There's a relationship we need to build. It's going to take time.
So it's cowed up, but it's not running. You need another year to get it really running.
Well, you got a lot of heifers that you bought from places. You're going to sort through that, try to improve that herd.
Is production off because from what it should be?
It's too early to say. I calved in these 500-600 heifers in the last 3 months, and so you got a lot of fresh animals, and there's still aspects that need to be. People need trained there to trim cows, and how does this whole operation fit in these other two operations? And the relationships that I want to build up with neighbors there, and make sure we get the corn silage in that we need to be able to purchase, and get rid of the manure efficiently, and make all that work well. But if tomorrow an opportunity arises and it makes sense, yeah, I'll be looking at it.
So there's a lot of people that are larger scale farmers that didn't get the bad rep. Well, the jealous neighbor is one thing, but the other part of it is when they start to do what I've seen, and I'm working obviously a lot of agriculture, I'm big time, and so I'll tell you how things are going to be. Neither of you two do that. But my observation is when he talked about relationships, even though you tried to goad him and tried to pick on me and say that I was a pain in the ass landowner that he had to work with, what did Johan say? I like to keep good relationships. And he talked about nutrition. Is the nutritionist complaining about me, or is that something completely different?
Nutritionist?
You said somebody was complaining about me, and you just know how to handle all kinds of personality.
Oh. There's people, everybody got their own personality.
I think he's inserting him. I think he said Lori complains about him.
Oh, that happens for sure. She likes him. She makes him applesauce.
Right.
The Dutch eat applesauce with damn near, I mean, it's like you put a piece of toast down, they want applesauce.
No,
you
not
put a pork chop, they want applesauce.
Pork chop, yeah.
All of the rhubarb pie, they want applesauce. They put applesauce with everything. It's like
just the warm part
like
of the
ketchup
meal
for them.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
It is like ketchup. Different cultures, different ways of doing things.
I think you need to cultivate relationships no matter the size of your operation, and there's no reason to tell anybody the way it's going to be. It really needs to be a give and take relationship. Because again, like we talked about yesterday, three things: quality, price, and service. Yeah, pick two. Yeah, and I always want to look for a good price, but quality and service have a lot of value. And so, anytime I tell people the way it's going to be, I think you're picking price and quality and service go out the window, and that's not for a great long-term relationship.
It needs to be a two-way street.
It does. It really does.
Yeah, well, I think you guys are both very good about that you don't just try and throw your size around and all that. And you see people that do that, and you always think, when you're over a barrel at some point, nobody's going to come and help you out.
That's right. That's the long-term relationship we're talking about. Yeah.
Or make price concessions. Some of these landlords don't do that. I heard about one that does. Hey, you're having a tough year out here. What do you get wrong? You talk about this power thing and all that, and then growing and scaling up the operation because it gives you more control of your business and all these things. What did you get wrong?
In that equation, you mean?
Yeah.
I think that you can't be everywhere where you'd like to be. That's why even right now with the 3 operation, I can't. You had the 1 operation, you saw every employee every day.
Mm-hmm.
Day shift, night shift. I talked to pretty much everybody every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm losing that. So now I got to figure out how do I substitute that with someone else that will do that? Because people still need to be talked to. As that communication is very important, and that's you only got 24 hours a day, and you need to spend time with your family at home. And how do you bring balance to all that?
Is that what you got wrong?
Yes, you can't. You can't be everywhere at once. I can't do all the things that I used to do. I sometimes don't. I don't feel like I get to farm anymore because you have to manage all those things, and there's people underneath you, things like that, and they do a great job. But you can't pay someone to do as good a job as you care about. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And my employees are great, but they have other lives. It's their job,
and they're not owners.
They're not owners, and you can't expect them what you expect of yourself. And you have to realize that and build that in to make that successful. A lot of them act like they're owners. They really care to the full of their ability, but at the end of the day, the responsibility still lies on my shoulders, and I can't be everywhere I want to be.
You get the feeling that you created that, or there's a lot of buy-in for your guys. Some of them probably more than others.
Some of them more than others, but also, how do you, that's what I've been here lately too. What's a good wage?
Yeah.
And how do you compensate someone fairly? I was raised that you do your job as you're told and you're getting a paycheck for that. But as this, the people's mentality is changing, that a job is, and a paycheck is the norm. So how do you motivate people to do more than just what's expected of them? When they see something that needs fixed, that they just pick it up and do it. How do you create that atmosphere or culture within your business? So when you are gone, because I always tell my wife, when we go on vacation, the vacation part is the cheap part.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's the stuff that's back home. Yeah.
So, but you try to put things in place and people in place, and maybe a little spare equipment, because you used to be able, when stuff broke, you were able to jump in and fix it 5 minutes, and they were going again. So now you just need to have a backup piece of equipment sitting there.
think the people that are watching this show are ag people. I think the people that are not ag people, when you say words like creating culture, and you're like, this guy's a dairy farmer, he's talking about employee culture, but it's real.
Yes,
How many employees you got?
35.
35 between the 3 facilities. Yeah. And you're 5 times that.
Yes, we have about 150 employees throughout all the different businesses and entities, and I very much try to create a culture of equality. And I want, it's a dumb way to say it, but my number one priority is to have fun. And I want it to be a positive environment. I want to enjoy the people I work with. I want them to enjoy their day. I don't want it to become drudgery for them, and it's still a job, but I don't want it to become drudgery for them, because then I don't think they give it their all. They don't do the extra things. And I want them to know that I will go the extra mile for them, and I expect it back.
What about on the business? I mean, I don't think there's any denying, at a certain scale, the power structure changes on the vendors. I mean, I've been to your office. I've been there trying to do business between you and me, and in between you and me doing our thing, 3 to 4 vendor company people that you buy from. And they weren't even just like, they weren't sweeper salesmen. They weren't cold. I mean, they're actually, well, they come there, they want what you have to offer, which is cows, your credit's good, etc. So you can kind of be a little bit more in control of those relationships in terms of the terms, I would think.
Yeah, but when you go shopping around all the time, you don't have the relationship. I really enjoy those long-term relationships. When you pick up the phone, you know what you got, and don't have to figure out, he had the best price this month, so I'm going to use him this month. Yeah. But when you're short, and well, let's see when we get next product. And no, when I'm short of something, I want whoever I've been doing the business with the last 5 or 10 years, give me product.
Yeah.
Get what I need when I need it, and not say, well, I'm sorry. And it's sometimes tough to do that, because sometimes there is a big price discrepancy from one vendor to the other. But I do try to keep everybody honest. And when there is a big difference, I'm going to make a phone call to who I'm doing business with first. Hey, why am I able to buy here cheaper? Or, if it's 1 or 2 cents, I'm not going to say much. It's just part of the fluctuation in the market. But when it's just a plain commodity, like you said, distillers or bean meal or diesel fuel, yes, there's a service aspect to that, but at the end of the day, it's like me selling milk. We're selling a commodity. It has to be of quality. But then it needs to be price competitive.
It does need to be price competitive.
Now, I've been to your office, and there's people coming and going. It's like a beehive of folks they're there because they want to do business with you.
Yes. And with everything going on and stuff now, I will, a lot of times I don't talk to those people, the salesmen anymore. If it's fertility or something for the farm, they're going to go to Evans and Wingrove. If it's cattle, they're probably going to talk to my sons. If it's trucks, they're going to talk to Mike and Sabrina. Parts, they're going to talk to Bryce. Everybody has because I don't, there's too many things going on that I don't know the details all the time.
Then you can't.
That's one of, I can't. And you can't. And that's one of the problems that we talked about earlier, but then you depend on those folks that is an expert in their area.
Well, they're not only expert in their area, but they're also now making businesses. Do you let people make business? Do you let people spend money for Sunshine Dairy?
I have a herdsman that does on the medicine side. But that's about the extent of it. And that's especially on the repair and maintenance side of things, that's something I'm trying to figure out, because I do spend a fair amount of time on the phone finding parts for the guys.
So you need to that's your next hire in terms of being more in control of where you want to go.
Find somebody that enjoys shopping, finding the right parts, and is efficient with that.
You need a shop man, equipment operator.
Yeah,
mechanic,
that's
chief mechanic.
Back to size, we're not quite big enough you can have a shop foreman, or maybe I could, but
I'm sure
it's a wonderful thing.
Right now, you're in the vehicle driving between farms, you kind of utilize that time to make those phone calls, so you don't feel like it's a waste of time. But if you hire someone to do that, you can't expect them to be wrenching and making those phone calls.
You have a mechanic?
Yeah.
The mechanic does it.
Yeah.
So how many trucks do you have?
4.
Yep.
So
2 choppers.
2 choppers.
Few payloaders. So what about the person listening that says, all right, this is easy for them to say because they're larger scale farms. We got a lot of XtremeAg fans that are normal size farm operations. I'd think that they still have more control and power, more power of business and more control over their own operation today than we would have. And I think that's that thing in our pocket, the information.
Yeah. That's what I was just going to say. Like the previous episode, we talked about the connectivity and where your news comes from, things like that. I think most growers have more control over their operation now because the world is a bigger place.
Regardless of size.
Yes. My father-in-law made a living buying a lot of the cattle from different parts of the country and bringing them back to the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
And, the market was different. He could find places that had a depressed market relative to Western Iowa. Now with the internet and things like that, that's tough to do anymore.
Yeah, I think
The world is at your fingertips.
yeah, a mid-sized farming operation still has probably more control than they did just 20 or 30 years ago because of the information.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what the markets are in different sales barn, and just know what the market is bringing.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably have to differentiate yourself more to be able to get that extra price for your cattle, price for certain things, versus just a commodity.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that you think, dear God, I still wish I had more control over this? Like, man, I'm doing really well over here, or something like, oh man, this thing is still too much not in my grasp. Is there anything?
Not really.
The weather.
Right.
Well, the commodity markets is why I wish I could understand better and hedge. And, it's like last year was a pretty good year for dairy. We'll see what this year's going to bring. There's always that we're relying on outside sources, what our bottom line is, versus you can do everything right, have good output, good, healthy cattle, and still lose money because the market moves against you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that frustrates me more than anything. And
The weather and the markets are out of our control.
Yeah.
And you're a control freak like I am.
Well, I'm sure I'm a control freak, but it does frustrate when anymore. It doesn't matter if it used to be, if you worked 80 hours compared to your counterpart that worked 40, hey, you made more money because you were able to put in more time. Today, that does not affect your bottom line anymore.
Yep, that's not true.
Also, that's a good way to die. Look at your dad. You can't work 200-hour weeks you can't work 100-hour weeks all your life.
Not all your life.
It's a little much. You know that.
Yeah, as long as you enjoy it.
All right. Last thought, power and control. We asked the question, do farmers have more power and control now? That we all three agree that they do on the information front. You're a price taker. By the way, farmers do like to talk about we're price takers. Well, really, so is everybody. I always point that out. I mean, we say, oh, you set your price. I'm like, well,
it's all supply and demand.
I mean, I could set my price at whatever, but at some point, the market tells me what
they're not going to call you and book you anymore.
Right.
So you're a price taker.
I'm a price taker also because at some point you've got to do what the market allows and what the rest of the people are doing out there. Last thought about farmer power and control. Do you feel like you got things under control?
Well, I think so. I think I'm pretty blessed with the people I have around me. So I'm very blessed that my wife stands beside me, that we can do it together. And I'm not out there being a lonely ranger doing it all with employees. I think for me, that's worth a lot.
Yeah.
That we can do it together. And, she's fine with coming home late because something broke, or, hey, you plan on being somewhere. And the day goes different and you get a phone call, you got to change gears. And
I had to threaten him. I said, hey, Johan, I did it a lot of times. Hey, I'm going to come over and talk about some business stuff. I'll be there at 7. 7 could be 9. It could be 10. It could be 11. I said, I've got people here to do this production. When I say you got to here at a certain time, you can't make me look bad. I said, I've got people coming here. And you showed up on time.
it's possible.
It's possible. It's possible. I said, if you pull in an hour late and I got all my crew hanging out here and you say, well, I had a heifer and I'm having a difficult calving. I'm like, somebody else, I'm going to pull that calf. Anyway, last thought about power control.
He's correct. It's important to have the right spouse that understands the challenges of the operation that we have, things like that. I am very blessed with the people that I have around me. I do believe that we have more control than we used to. I would tell you, no matter the size of your operation, the way to gain that control and that self-sufficiency is never stop educating yourself.
Yeah.
And to learn more skills and to become more valuable in your operation, so you don't have to depend on other people so often, or other people outside of your team so often. Always, when we tackle something in the shop, the guys tackle something in the shop that they maybe haven't done before, like they might look at YouTube or things like that, and it might be a little more expensive for that repair the first time, but there's value in that education because now we've gained a new skill. Never stop educating yourself.
Don't be scared of it.
Don't be scared of it.
Talked about farmer power, farmer control. Talked about growth of your operation. We talked about making sure that you're controlling it to obviously create the operation you want. These are the kind of things we talk about here at the Granary. We invite you to figuratively pull up a chair, pour yourself a drink all time and anytime. You know what? These are all available at XtremeAg.farm. These episodes are also available at our YouTube channel. We encourage you to subscribe to that. Go to YouTube, type in XtremeAg, hit subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. At XtremeAg.farm, we also have literally hundreds of episodes of Cutting the Curve podcast and hundreds of videos that guys like Kelly shoot out in the field to help you farm better. This is my friend Johan de Groot, who's also my tenant and a dairyman, and we be coming back sometime.
Yeah.
Well, good. Perfect. He's Johan de Groot. He's Kelly Garrett. I'm Damian Mason. Until next time, cheers from the Granary. You did good.
Awesome.
You did good.
That was a nice conversation.
He's a good dude. It's all right. You tried to bait him into saying bad stuff about me, and he wouldn't take the bait.